Hey, um, I know that it's been hard, independently of what situation you're in. And maybe you've distanced yourself from God, whether it's a little bit or a lot. Um, and whether you've realized it or not, um, this separation, this gap that is being created, is not happening overnight. It's happening slowly through the habits you start to do, through the habits you start to not do, through the stuff you allow to let in your environment, I guess. The stuff you say, just all this stuff that that maybe you shouldn't be exposed to. And it has slowly been distancing yourself from God. And again, God, I know it's like hard to maybe accept it some days, sometimes, but he never leaves. He's always there. Yes, the trials, they suck so bad. They suck. I mean, sure, at the beginning they're like, oh yeah, just bring it on, right? I can take on the freaking world if I want. Truth is, I mean, just take hit after hit after hit after hit, and you seem to look back and realize that or at least it seems that you haven't moved a single centimeter from where you were before knowing God. It seems like you're in the same place, that nothing has changed, that the only one that has changed is you, and you might start thinking that it's all just a delusion, whatever, that you're just like crazy, or it's just like a phase, whatever. Point is, this starts happening, and you start to look in other places, other people, and you unconsciously try to put your identity in these these people, or whatever it is from this earth, that it will eventually pass away, or just it will end. It's not eternal. And maybe where I'm sort of going to. But point is, don't put your identity in something or someone that is going to end. Okay? Yes, you are going to end too, of course. And yes, it's just like you only live once, so you might as well just choose to be happy, right? But again, since when were you fully aware of what actually makes you happy? Because it's surprising how little of ourselves we know. It's surprising that there's just for me, for example, I'm shocked in some situations of how little I know myself. I thought I would certain stuff wouldn't come up to my mind. I thought I would never do certain stuff. I thought my future was certain, in the sense of how I was gonna live. But again, stuff happens, okay? Life happens, And now all of a sudden you're not even sure who you are. You're not even sure, like this hypocrisy living in your heart is eating you up. And I mean, you just can't, you gotta take a decision, right? Whether it is to, again, live with God or without God, whether being 100%, all in. Of course, it's not gonna be perfect, but it's still being all in, or just do it your way. And I thought I had stopped doing stuff my way, but these last couple of weeks, I'm gonna be honest, I've tried to do stuff. I've tried to do stuff my way. And, well, I know how that ended up, and I guess you guys would have an idea, general idea how that ended up. So not good. And yes, it sucks, just coming back to God, not because of the shame, or at least not in my case, is that, like, I'm not really, like, of course I'm ashamed, yeah, but that's not all. Like, the thing is, like, there's just sometimes that it is so hard to just, let go and let God, how they say. It's just so hard to trust Him. And I know it's something that should be outrageous to say, because again, He's God, He's perfect, He knows everything, He already knows how everything is going to go. And it's not like, He created you and me already knowing what we were going to do, okay? Because again, and we think we understand who God is. We think we understand how He loves. We think we understand, again, yes, who He is, when in reality we don't have the smallest idea of, for example, how unconditional, how eternal, unchanging His love is. Since He is love, He is the truth, He is, I was going to say, the purest form of love, but anything outside of the love God intended is pretty much lust, or worse, if there is anything worse. My point is, when you try to do stuff your way, sure, it might feel good in the moment, but it just won't work out. It just won't work out. Life will happen, and eventually you're gonna run out of options, and you're gonna be in a point so low that you're gonna become a totally different person. I mean, there might be situations in life in which they put you in a spot that will challenge what you stand for, or what you claim you stand for. And it will sort of make you change who you are, sort of betraying yourself. And again, if you try to do stuff your way, if just to put it short, let go and let God. I'm not saying do nothing, but and it's hard to say this, because again, I've been struggling so much on doing this, because it's not easy. I mean, it's constant thinking of whether you are doing too much, in which you're at the point of basically doing it yourself, and also not doing enough to the point in which you're just being lazy and using the excuse of just let go and let God, right? And that's kind of that's kind of what's like been like what I've been sort of dealing with. But still, it's not gonna, you know, it's not gonna keep me from, you know, just saying pretty much what has to happen, and yes, what I have to do. Also, we have to, I don't know, just, if you're a guy, you gotta man up. I mean, if you are the type of like guy that gets his motivation from, you know, masculine figures, not to say anything suspicious on that, like if you are a guy that looks up to, you know, looks up to other men that are an inspiration, and sure, let's say show masculinity, whatever it is, why not go to the most masculine man that has ever existed and will exist, Jesus Christ. Yes, you might think like, oh, how is he masculine? I mean, he, you know, just whatever. Yes, you might have some different arguments, but point is, I mean, this could be for another video, whatever. But point is, Jesus Christ is the person we should ultimately look up to. He is the one that we should put our identity in, because again, he is eternal, therefore he is unchanging, therefore nothing that ever happens will make him abandon us. If we want to abandon him, or not that we want to, but I don't know, if we just unconsciously abandon him, that's, I mean, yeah, that's on us, let's be honest. But and yes, last thing, you might be mad, you might be pissed, you know, I've done all this work, I've done all this, I've lost so much, and again, nothing has changed in my life. My life looks almost the same. And I mean, I understand it's not a bad, you know, point, but I mean, let's say the truth. And yes, it might hurt, but you're making it about yourself. I mean, since when was it all about, you know, making us, I don't know. Yes, it's all this is for us, yes, but not in this, it's not the for us in which Jesus is our employee. It's not in which he works for us in the same way that, I don't know, someone can work for McDonald's. So again, just, and it's not bad, again, it's just let it out, you know, talk it out with anyone. I mean, of course, someone you trust that information with. I'm just saying it out, like, right here, because I know that so many people struggle with this, and I know that it ultimately leads to a life, I've seen it, that it ultimately leads to a life in which that version of you that was 100% committed to him would not agree with, that would not even recognize that person. So again, just talk it out with, I don't know, someone, whoever it is. Point is, it helps to talk it out. But also be mindful, you know, just, and then again, feel like a hypocrite right here, but, and matter of fact, I haven't read it today, and I don't think I did yesterday, but just be in the Word, man. Gosh, just be in the Word. I mean, I know I didn't think it was, that hard to, like, I didn't understand people who struggled with being consistent. No, yeah, who struggle with being consistent, with reading their Bibles or even praying. But, I mean, not that it's, like, the hardest thing to do. It's not, but when you are in a position, or I guess in a mindset or perspective, or I don't know, when you're dealing with some stuff, in which you chose to, I guess, shift your focus onto worldly matters, to worldly people. Not to say, like, even if they're Christian, whatever, but like, you shifted your focus, you put your focus away from God, and or at least partially, and turned it to anything or anyone else. I mean, I get it now. I sort of get, like, these people that sort of get people that like struggle to do this. And my advice, it's pretty simple. Just don't stop. I know it sucks, okay? I know, like, it's like, I don't know, like, after being humiliated, going back, let's say, in a way, going back to the one who could have avoided it, but I know that, like, it seems reasonable, but it's a wrong mind. I mean, it's a wrong mindset because it's incorrect. And I mean, of course, God lets some stuff happen because, again, let's be honest. Whatever situation you're in right now that is causing you to, or is making you distance yourself away from Him, in which you are the one separating from God, let's be honest, it was because of something you did, okay? Something, I don't know, some stupid decision you just made, or stupid couple of decisions, stupid set of decisions that you made, that, again, led to this. And maybe you've had the wrong heart posture. And I know, like, it makes you sort of anxious of, okay, how do I know I have the right heart posture? And the answer I can give right now is, through the trials, through all the difficulties, all this stuff that just, like, makes you sick, all this stuff that just, like, bothers you, you just genuinely, when you think about it, it just, like, pisses you off so bad. But when you come out on top, of course, with, like, in a godly way, of course, like, when you do this God's way, and I'm sure you know what is God's way. I mean, look at Jesus, right? What would Jesus would have done, And I know it's sort of unclear or generalized, but I think you can figure that out. But again, gosh, it is these trials, these are the trials, these are the circumstances in which, ironically, you get closer to God. And this might seem obvious for some, like, for you, and maybe, like, 3 months ago, it would have seemed so obvious for me. I'm like, dude, what are you saying? That's basic knowledge. But when you're, like, actually going through it, it's not as clear. It's actually very unclear. It is not, so much stuff that goes through your mind. So many concerns, so many stuff that goes through your mind. All these worries, they genuinely mess you up. If you're not prepared, or if you don't know who to turn to, it genuinely messes you up, and it will ruin your life. You will be looking in the mirror, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 years later, if you're still alive. And I mean, you will look, you will wonder, you will ask the question, what the hell was I thinking? My bad. What was I thinking? I mean, I thought I had it all figured out. I was so concerned with, getting, being in a relationship, getting all this money, getting, reaching this life that you see in like social media. But yeah, you're just gonna end up wondering, why didn't you just why didn't you just trust God, And of course, there's nothing God can't do. I mean, nothing's impossible, but you will regret it. You will regret the choices that you make that are not part of God's will. That is 100% guaranteed. Of course, other than death. Yeah. And also, my bad. Now, this is the last thing I want to get to, okay? For just dipping, for just closing. I thought I was the only one that did this. Or, well, of course, since I didn't really see it in other people. Maybe up until recently. But I thought I was the only one that had these this version of people in which they're perfect, this version of people in my mind, that in which they have no flaws, in which they're just perfect. They are this version in which they are how you think they are, which I mean, in reality, and especially this happens a lot with relationships and marriage specifically. When you marry someone, if you marry someone, and even before that, you will see the other person's biggest flaws, biggest and deepest flaws. I mean, and again, since we're here about doing it the right way, the way, if you're not centered in Christ, okay, if you don't let God, orchestrate this, it's not gonna end up working out. And you might think it is orchestrated by God, but again, since marriage is so sacred, you can't just know it based on a prayer, okay? It's constant meditation, constant prayer, okay? Because it's a decision that, involves being with this person the rest of your life, okay? Being one flesh with them. And in my case, loving this person as Christ loved the church, right? In which once you realize this, then you sort of, want to start taking all this this seriously, Of course, you gotta be careful with relationships. Yeah, You just can't go around and, it's the moment you find someone attractive, or the moment you, I don't know, like, you, I guess, fall in love with this version of people in your mind, this version that you have of them, in which almost 100% of times is not chill, just it's almost like this made up version. And not only with people, also with with whatever else, okay? But going back to what I was talking about, you have to be careful with this stuff, okay? It's not something that you can just be decided, just out of nowhere, just out of oh my gosh, I'm losing the words. Okay, it's not something that just you can decide out of the blue. Okay, it's much more complicated than that. So yeah, just look at yourself, okay, and be honest with yourself, honestly, and ask yourself, like, are you really committed to this? I mean, are you really committed to, just finding one person, not, just having this body count or situationships, having one person, like focusing on finding the person God has for you? Are you really committed in this, or do you just, are you just looking for temporal satisfaction? That's kind of what you should ask yourself, and be honest with yourself before answering this question. Because so many people just ignore this question, or avoid this situation, they end up ruining their lives. They end up wasting so much time. And even if it ends up being a lesson, I mean, could have gone a different way. But again, just throwing that out there. So it doesn't happen. Yeah. Stay blessed, stay rooted, and stay prayed up. You have just keep praying. Okay, don't stop praying. That's something that I've the only thing I've sort of been really consistent with, these past weeks. So again, just don't stop praying, and just be honest with yourself. Just don't try to convince yourself in order to satisfy these desires of your heart that keep changing. So yeah, just be honest with yourself.